welcome to what I think is Paul and mine's fourth update. A particular welcome to those of you that have newly joined the firm and for whom this is your first update. And again, for those people, in this update, Paul and myself try and give you an insight into where we've been spending our time, things that have come up across the firm, and maybe some developments in the future. Before we go on to talk about some of those more work-related matters, I think, Paul, we've just gone through holiday season and,
Yep.
You've been away a bit. So did you have a good time?
I did, yeah. Hello to everybody. Yeah, I did. I had a couple of weeks in France with the family. My sons flew out whilst we drove down with all the surfboards and bikes. Had a really interesting couple of weeks exploring southwest France, being taught how to surf again by my sons looking after me. But yeah, really enjoyable couple of weeks. And yourself, you're in northern Spain, I think, but you had an interesting journey home.
Yeah, I was in northern Spain for a couple of weeks. Again, similar. Journey out was fine. Journey back involved another 700 miles back through France due to the sea state out of Santander, which was long and painful, but I think, was probably the right decision.
Mrs. Bentley was happier with the journey home.
Definitely happier, and she will get on a ferry again.
Good. So in terms of work, what have you been focusing on the last 3 or 4 months?
Well, I think there's been a lot about really bringing our strategy to life, making the strategy real. I think would be my high-level summary of it, and we can talk about the individual component parts of that and what we've been up to. We had summer partners conference, which was very interesting. We had some outside speakers, 2 outside speakers there. We had Walter from Soderberg and Partners, who has a global digital transformation lead, talking to us about the very real difference that Soderberg are and will make to Francis Clark Financial Planning. By way of reminder to you, Soderberg and Partners have taken a minority investment in Francis Clark Financial Planning, but they're not an investor per se. They are a Scandinavian financial services technology business. But that relationship is building, gaining traction, and we're beginning to see some real benefits. We also had our external IT consultant make a presentation to the partner together with James Gifford, our recently joined IT director, talking about some, what changes that we're seeing in the profession more widely, technology that's available to us, and looking at the firm's technology strategy moving forward. So that was all pretty exciting stuff to be involved with, and there's lots to be done coming from that. What about yourself, Paul?
Yeah, very similar. We had the directors conference in Bournemouth, where we had directors across the business working together. Number of themes on that day. Firstly, very similarly, looking at the strategy and what that means for the directors and their teams. A key theme of the day was collaboration and the various departments and themes across the business working together. We had a presentation from our private client team and our FCFP team on a particular client case study. And then a series of discussions in the afternoon around a typical client and how we might service that client, challenging ourselves on how we approach potential new clients and really bringing to life the skills and experience that we have throughout the business. And as well as that, the director group, who are a really key part of the leadership of the firm, spending time with each other during the day and the evening and getting to know each other and building those relationships across the business. Yeah,
it was a good day, wasn't it? And I think that, you hit the nail on the head. And it's interesting that, we are several years now, but of being organised differently now into our service lines. And there's been a lot of good things that have come from that. But we always knew that it wasn't a panacea for all issues we might have in the firm, and it probably brought with it some other negatives we needed to manage. And the key one there was people existing in silos and perhaps not thinking firm, but thinking solely in terms of department and their service line. And it's interesting because I know the heads of departments met recently, and this is a key theme that I want to pick up, which I think is a natural evolution of the reorganisation of the firm, and an area where we will have increased focus moving forward, because fundamentally, as I said to the directors conference, it's of marginal relevance to many clients. They need to know you are confident and competent in your subject matter, but they want a service and they want their needs met. They don't get overly hung up about our internal department structure. So it was a very good day and a very relevant subject, and I think that conversation will probably filter out more widely than the director group.
Yes, and a couple of themes for me from that day as well, where we're very good, clearly, at the financial aspects, but also thinking about the emotional aspects of change in family ownership in that particular case. And we had directors from our central teams, from our people team and marketing team, who brought a different angle to that case study. So that was really interesting for me. And the other key element of the last summer has been our trainee induction day, where we had over 40 graduates and school leavers join the firm. And believe it or not, I remember my first day in my training program. So that was a really nice couple of days for them to meet each other, build those relationships, and see various aspects of the business, both in terms of lunches with directors and partners, but also listening to other parts of the business around, actually entering the professional services environment and the world in which we're working in today.
And Bristol's been a key focus as well, hasn't it? Again, coming back to that theme of we're actually now living and enacting the strategy that we launched last year, and people will be aware that Bristol is a key, and its growth is a key strategic priority for the firm. There's been quite a lot going on there. I don't know if you want to talk about some of the things we've been up to.
So we're very clear and very conscious that the office, for those people listening and watching this in Bristol, that the office is rather cramped and we're running out of available desk space. So we're looking at alternative locations for that. We've been working very closely with all the department heads and the partners in Bristol, preparing detailed business plans for each department, but also for the office as a whole. We've got those discussions continuing, involving our marketing team with an external internal marketing program, and also a key recruitment plan. So that's been a key focus for us over the last few months, and hopefully people within the business will start to see that change and that evolution of our focus on Bristol coming to the fore in the next few weeks and months.
Yeah, and I'm very conscious that there'll be some people watching this in the Bristol office, looking at the physical environment where I've been spending a reasonable amount of time. We are relatively advanced in conversations about new and enlarged offices within Bristol, including conversations with the existing landlord in the building, which I think is our preferred choice. I don't think that's a great secret. That will pretty much double, in excess of double the footprint in the office. So watch this space on that. Paul, I think you've been dealing with our PKF quality inspectors as we've recently gone through the process of having that review done to ensure that we are still the right type of firm and in the right shape to be in the network.
Good. So this builds on our REQ theme, where with Duncan Leslie and focusing on risk, ethics and quality. The PKF inspection is a global monitoring program inspection every 2 to 3 years. And a key element of that is looking at our ISQM, so the sort of quality standard around the improvement of our process. It's a challenging process. Our inspector was a former Little John's audit partner, so very well experienced and very good at his role, challenging us. And I think it was an interesting inspection. We've certainly learnt a lot from that. We're still waiting for some of the final ratings, but the feedback has been helpful and very constructive. So thank you to Alex Davis, Alex Reynolds and the team more widely. But that was a really interesting program. We certainly learned a lot from that. And I'm pleased to say that the initial feedback has been positive, albeit with some learning areas that we will be feeding back to you through Duncan and the other risk leads in the departments.
I believe you had a significant anniversary recently, Paul. Do you want to talk a little bit about that?
I did, yeah. So I'm pleased to have just passed my 10th anniversary with the firm, which is a landmark for lots of people. But as a direct entry partner into the firm 10 years ago, it's been a really interesting period in my career. I'm really proud of the time that I've spent here. So for people that aren't aware, I spent probably the first 8 or 9 years of my time here as a partner in the corporate finance team, working alongside Andy Killick and Paul Stout more latterly, developing that team. And I'm really pleased that the team continues to go from strength to strength, develop, and they've got a fantastic reputation both nationally and in the region. And Scott, at the other end of partnership career, I'm really pleased that as we're recording this today, we've announced the promotion of Rob Gear to partner. Rob has been with the firm for many years. He and I worked at EY together. Rob will be leading the transaction support team within deals and restructuring, and I'm really pleased and congratulate Rob at a personal level on the achievement, and I'm sure he'll take the team to further strengths. So Scott, it's World Mental Health Day on the 10th of October. We're marking this with various sort of office-specific events and drop-in sessions across the firm. Most offices, or all offices, sorry, have mental health first aiders, and there's always an opportunity for more people to join that team and support their colleagues. But from a personal perspective, what do you do and how do you manage your mental health?
Yeah, thanks, Paul. I think you hit the nail on the head. I think it's a very personal thing. I think the first thing is to, as I've got older, acknowledging it's something I have to look after, something I have to think about. And I think the other key thing for me, again, this might be a personal approach, acknowledging that my mental health is for me to own and for me to look after and nobody else. So, how do I, on a practical level, I think a better understanding and recognition as to at what point I need to take a break, whenever it is. You and I both know in our roles and many other roles across the firm, there's never a reason that you couldn't sit at your desk for another hour and answer another email, whether that be 8, 9 p.m. at night, whenever it might be, but actually acknowledging when you're maybe past your best, you need a break. And personally for me, people will be different. Activity, physical activity, exercise, sport has been my balance. I find for me, our job is mostly sitting down. A lot of it is mental, on Teams calls, looking at documents, whatever it might be, reviewing accounts, reviewing tax projects, and actually the release of doing something physical, whether that's going in the gym, whether that's going for a surf, whatever that might be, has been my balance. And yourself?
Yeah, I'm much the same. I do take a lead from you on something on this. You're very good, and I can, stay late at times when maybe too late. So very similar. Gym 2 or 3 times a week, running, cycling, just generally getting outside and outdoors, sometimes in good weather, sometimes in bad weather. But yeah, it's exercise for me is the way that I relax and sort of de-stress and clear my head. Yeah.
But it's different for everybody. Some people will be reading a book, but whatever. Find something which you help brings you that balance, I think would be my comment.
Agreed. Thank you for listening, everybody, and I hope you enjoyed the content. We look forward to seeing you all very shortly in the roadshows that are coming up in November. And until then, thank you for watching.
Thank you.